The afternoon sun was burning hot in Lagos. The kind of heat that makes your skin feel like it's on fire. But Sarah had no place to hide. She sat under a torn canopy outside a closed shop. Sweat poured down her face. Her wrapper was soaked. And in her arms, 2 babies cried. Taiwo and Kenny. Her twins. 1 boy, 1 girl. Both hungry and tired. Looking down at them, her heart broke. She tried to breastfeed, but nothing came out. Her body was too weak. She hadn't eaten a proper meal in months. Next to her was a small wooden tray with a few packets of biscuits and some sweets. This was her business now. Sitting here all day, hoping someone would buy something. But nobody was buying. People walked past like she was invisible. Market women glanced at her and looked away quickly. Others whispered to each other. Why did she have children when she knows she can't take care of them? One woman said loudly. Another woman laughed. Look at her. A young girl who should be looking for a husband, now she's on the street with twins. Hands trembling, she held her babies closer. She felt the urge to defend herself rising inside her, but no words came. The twins cried louder. Please, Ma, she called softly to a woman passing by. Just buy 1 sweet. My children haven't eaten since morning. The woman didn't even turn around. Then another trader, a big woman selling vegetables nearby, shouted. You and your children, get out of here. Your noise is driving my customers away. Looking down at the twins, fear gripped her chest. Taiwo had stopped crying. His little body was limp. His eyes were half closed. Taiwo, she whispered, shaking him gently. Wake up. Please. But he didn't respond. Panic set in. She adjusted Kenny on her other arm and tried again. Nothing. 24 years old Sarah, she should have been in school. Building a future. Instead, she was here on the street with 2 babies. Hopeless and helpless. Life was different 2 years ago. She had dreams, wanted to be a teacher and make her parents proud. Now here she was. Watching her son's body go limp. Listening to people mock her. Looking up at the sky, she whispered. God, if you can hear me, please help my children. They don't deserve this. But the sky gave no answer. Taiwo's small body lay still in her arms. Her hands trembled as she called his name again and again, her voice breaking each time. All she knew was that her son wasn't moving, and that alone was enough to break her. Far away, the city kept moving, unaware of the storm in her heart. Victor sat in the back seat of his SUV trying not to lose his temper. The car wasn't moving. Lagos traffic was terrible today. His phone was pressed against his ear. A man from London was talking about a business deal worth 5 billion naira. Mr. Victor, we need your answer by tomorrow, the man said. If you can't commit, we'll move to someone else. Rubbing his forehead, he felt the weight of the decision. That kind of deal could change everything for his company. But something felt wrong. His assistant handed him a folder. Inside were documents showing someone was trying to destroy his charity foundation. Spreading lies that he was stealing money meant for poor people. None of it was true. But lies didn't need truth to cause damage. Sir, are you there? The man on the phone asked. Yes. I'm here. So what's your decision? Are you in or out? He looked out the window, frustrated. He didn't want to be talking about money right now. And then he saw her. A young woman by the roadside. 2 babies with her. Twins. One tied to her back. One in her arms. Trying to sell something from a small tray. The sun was hitting her directly. Her clothes were old. Her face was covered in sweat. But it wasn't the poverty that made him stare. It was the look on her face. Completely broken. And then he saw it. The baby in her arms wasn't moving. The woman started shaking the baby. Her mouth was moving. Trying to wake him up. But the baby didn't move. The woman started crying. Loud, desperate crying. People around her stopped and stared. Some pointed. But nobody helped. His chest tightened. Heart racing. He knew that look. Had seen it before. When he was 10 years old, his mother died giving birth to his baby sister. 2 years later, his father died of a broken heart. He and his sister were raised by their grandmother. She was old and poor, couldn't afford much. When his sister got sick at 7 years old, there was no money for the hospital. She died anyway. Her name was Sarah. He never forgot promising himself that if he ever became rich, he would never let anyone suffer like that again. And now, looking out the car window, he saw another Sarah. Another baby. Another life slipping away. "Mr. Victor," the man on the phone said. "I need an answer now." He looked at his phone. 5 billion naira. The biggest deal of his life. Then back at the woman. Screaming. Begging for help. The baby completely limp. "Stop the call," he said to his assistant. "Sir." "I said stop the call. Now." "But sir, this is a 5 billion naira deal." "I don't care. End the call." His assistant pressed the button. The line went dead. The deal would probably fall apart. But right now, none of that mattered. He opened the car door and stepped out. His driver called after him. "Sir, where are you going?" No answer. He just started running. Running toward the woman and her baby. People stared. A rich man in an expensive suit running through Lagos traffic. But he didn't care. All that mattered was getting to that baby before it was too late. Victor pushed through the crowd of people standing around. Nobody was helping. They were just watching. Some were even taking videos with their phones. "Move," he shouted. "Get out of the way." People saw his expensive clothes and stepped back quickly. He reached the woman. She was on her knees, holding the limp baby and crying so hard her whole body shook. "Taiwo, Taiwo, please wake up," she screamed. Victor knelt beside her. "Let me see him." She looked up with wild, terrified eyes. She didn't know who he was. Held her baby tighter. "I'm not going to hurt him," Victor said gently. "I want to help. Please." Something in his voice made her trust him. She handed Taiwo to him with shaking hands. He looked at the baby's face. The little boy's lips were pale. His eyes were closed. His tiny chest was barely moving. This baby was dying. Victor had learned infant CPR years ago. Never thought he would actually use it. But now, his hands moved on their own. He laid Taiwo on the ground gently. Tilted the baby's head back slightly. Checked if anything was blocking the airway. Then he began chest compressions. Soft ones. 2 fingers pressing down on the tiny chest of the baby. The crowd went silent. Everyone was watching. The mother was praying out loud. "God, please. Please don't take my son." Victor gave the baby 2 small rescue breaths. Then more compressions. His own heart was pounding. His hands were shaking but he kept going. "Come on," he whispered. "Come on, little one. Breathe." Nothing happened. He kept going. And then, suddenly, Taiwo coughed. It was a small sound. Weak. But it was there. The baby gasped. His little chest moved up and down. His eyes opened slightly. Then he started crying. A soft, weak cry. But it was the most beautiful sound Victor had ever heard. The mother screamed. Not in fear this time. In relief. "Thank you, God. Thank you." She reached for her baby and Victor carefully handed him back. She held Taiwo close to her chest, crying and laughing at the same time. Kenny, the baby girl still tied to her back, was crying too. Victor stood up. His knees were shaking. His hands were covered in dust from the road. "He needs a hospital," he said firmly. "Right now. Both of them do." The woman looked up. "I have no money for hospital, sir." "I didn't ask if you had money," Victor said. "I said they need a hospital. Now get up. We're going." She hesitated. She had heard stories about rich men who pretended to help poor women and then did terrible things. But when she looked into his eyes, she didn't see danger. She saw kindness. Real kindness. "Who are you?" she whispered. "Someone who wants to help." He held out his hand. "Please. Trust me." She took his hand and let him help her stand. Her legs were weak from sitting in the sun all day. She almost fell but he caught her. "My things," she said, looking back at her small tray of biscuits and sweets. "Leave them. Your babies are more important." He led her through the crowd to his car. His driver quickly opened the back door. She climbed in carefully, holding Taiwo in her arms. Kenny was still tied to her back, crying softly. Victor got in beside her. "Drive to City Hospital," he told his driver. "Fast. But safe." As the car moved through the traffic, Victor looked at Taiwo. The baby was breathing, but it was shallow. His color was still too pale. He pulled out his phone and called ahead to the hospital. "This is Victor Adeyemi. I'm bringing in 2 infant twins. Severe malnutrition. Possible dehydration. One just had a breathing emergency. Have your best doctors ready. Money is not an issue." The woman listened and felt like she was in a dream. This couldn't be real. Things like this didn't happen to people like her. The driver moved through traffic as fast as he could. Victor kept watching Taiwo, making sure the baby kept breathing. She started crying again. Quiet tears running down her face. "Thank you, sir," she whispered. "Thank you for saving my son." Victor looked at her. This young woman who looked like she had been through hell. This mother who was still fighting to keep her babies alive. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Sarah." His heart skipped. Sarah. Just like his sister. "How old are you?" 24, sir." So young. With 2 babies of her own. "And the twins? How old are they?" "Almost 2 years. 2 years on the streets with twin babies." He couldn't imagine how hard that must have been. They arrived at the hospital in 15 minutes. Victor jumped out and called for help. Nurses came running with a stretcher. Doctors rushed out. They took Taiwo from her arms. They untied Kenny from her back. Both babies were carried inside quickly. She tried to follow, but her legs gave out. She collapsed right there in the hospital parking lot. Victor caught her before she hit the ground. "Someone help her too," he shouted. More nurses came with a wheelchair. They lifted her into it and wheeled her inside. In the emergency room, everything happened fast. Doctors examined both twins. Hooked them up to machines. Put needles in their tiny arms for 4 fluids. Gave them oxygen masks. She sat in a chair watching, still crying. So weak she could barely sit up straight. A doctor came over. "When was the last time these babies ate?" "Yesterday morning," she said. "Small pap." The doctor's face went hard. "And you? When did you last eat?" 3 days ago." The doctor turned to a nurse. "Get her food. Now. And check her vitals." Then he walked over to Victor, who was standing by the door. "Mr. Adeyemi, you saved that boy's life. Another 30 minutes and we would have lost him. Maybe both of them." Victor felt sick. 30 minutes. That's how close these babies had been to death. "What do they need?" he asked. "Admission. At least 1 week. 4 fluids, nutrition, medication. They have severe malnutrition, dehydration, and the boy has early pneumonia." "Do it. Do everything they need. I'll cover all costs." The doctor nodded and went back to work. Victor stood there watching through the glass as doctors worked on 2 tiny babies who had almost died today. 2 babies whose mother had been begging on the street in the hot sun while people mocked her and walked away. He pulled out his phone. The screen showed 5 missed calls from his business partner. The London deal was probably gone now. 5 billion naira. Lost. But when he looked at the mother sitting in that chair, finally eating the food a nurse had brought her, crying while she ate because she was so hungry, he knew he had made the right choice. Some things were more important than money. 3 hours later, Victor sat in a private hospital room with Sarah. The twins were in the children's ward, sleeping peacefully now. Both hooked up to 4 drips. Both breathing normally. Both going to be okay. She looked different now. The nurses had given her clean clothes and had her shower. Eaten a proper meal. But her eyes still carried all the pain she had been through. Victor had been sitting quietly, giving her space. But he needed to understand. He needed to know how a young woman ended up on the street, with twin babies. "Can you tell me what happened?" he asked gently. "How did you end up out there?" She looked down at her hands, silent for a long time. Finally, she began to speak. I met Mr. Ahmed Yusuf when I was 20. I was working in a small shop, selling phone accessories. He used to come in sometimes. He wasn't rich. Just a regular man with a regular job. He worked at MTN. Had a small car. Dressed well. Looked responsible. He was kind to me. Bought things he didn't need just to talk. After some months, he asked me to be his girlfriend. I said yes. Her hands trembled. But there was something he didn't tell me. He already had another woman, Bimbo. They weren't married, but they had 3 boys together. When I found out, I wanted to leave. But he said it was over between them. That they were only co-parenting. He promised we'd get married after I finished my secretarial course. Her voice cracked. I believed him. I was young, and I believed him. Victor spoke softly. You were trusting. That's different. When I got pregnant at 21, I was scared. My parents were angry. My mother screamed, said I brought shame to the family. My father didn't even look at me. Just pointed at the door and told me to leave. Victor clenched his jaw. What kind of parents throw out their own daughter? I went to Mr. Ahmed Yusuf. Thought he'd help. At first, he acted fine. Then I found out I was carrying twins. And that's when Bimbo found out too. Tears welled up in her eyes. Bimbo came to his place and fought me. Said I was trapping him. Said the babies weren't even his. Victor asked softly, were you? She shook her head. No. Never. But she didn't care. She just wanted me gone. When I went into labor, he was supposed to take me to the hospital. But he went drinking with friends. And Bimbo was at the house. Victor leaned forward. What did she do? She locked me in the bedroom. I was screaming. Begging. But she laughed and said, let's see if those fake pains are real. I gave birth alone. On the floor. No help. Just me and my babies. I thought I was going to die. A neighbor heard me. Broke down the door. She cleaned the babies. Stopped the bleeding and saved my life. Victor's voice hardened. Where was Ahmed? He came home drunk. And Bimbo had already filled his head with lies, photoshopped pictures of me with another man. He believed her. He looked at me lying there with the babies and said, take those children that aren't mine, and leave. Victor's voice was low. You begged him. Yes. But he wouldn't listen. Bimbo was smiling. She had won. So you left. I had to. My parents didn't want me. He didn't want me. I had nothing. Just 2 babies. She wiped her tears. I slept in an abandoned church. Sold small things on the street. Sometimes, not enough to feed them. Victor frowned. For 2 years. She nodded weakly. Some days were better. Last week, thugs destroyed my little store because I couldn't pay them. That's how I ended up at the market, where you found me. She looked at him with tired eyes. I wasn't begging. I was trying to sell biscuits. But nobody was buying. My babies were hungry. Victor felt his chest tighten. This woman had lived through hell. Look at me, he said quietly. You are not the one who should be ashamed. Ahmed is a coward. Bimbo is cruel. Your parents failed you. But you're strong. You're a good mother. Her lip trembled. I don't feel strong. Strong people rarely do. They're too busy surviving. He leaned closer. I'm going to help you. Not just today. For real. For you, Taiwo, and Kenny. She stared at him. Why? You don't even know me. He took a breath. When I was 10, my mother died giving birth to my sister. My father followed 2 years later. My grandma raised us, but we were poor. When my sister got sick, we had no money for a hospital. She died at 7. Her eyes widened. Her name was Sarah. Just like you. Tears filled her eyes again. He continued, voice steady. I promised myself that if I ever became rich, I'd never let a mother beg while her child suffers. Never. He looked into her eyes. You remind me of every woman who was failed by those who should have protected her. And I won't fail you too. She couldn't speak. She just cried, but this time, the tears carried hope. For the first time in years, she believed things might finally be okay. 3 days passed. Taiwo and Kenny were getting better. Their cheeks were rounder and eyes brighter. They smiled now, real smiles that made the nurses stop and look. Their mother stayed with them through it all. Slept in a chair beside their beds. Fed them and sang to them. Watched them like she feared they might vanish if she blinked. Victor visited every day. He brought clothes, toys, food, everything they needed. But while she focused on her children's recovery, he focused on something else. He was in his office now, sitting across from a man named Mr. Obi, a private investigator, the best in Lagos. Victor had hired him to find out everything about Mr. Ahmed Yusuf. Mr. Obi placed a thick folder on the desk. I have everything you asked for. He opened it and began to read. His face hardened with every page. Mr. Ahmed Yusuf did work at MTN. But he was drowning in debt. Owed money everywhere. Banks, loan sharks, even friends. He gambled. He drank. Spent what he didn't have, just to look like a man who did. And Bimbo? She controlled it all, his bank accounts, his bills, his decisions. He was only a puppet, and she pulled every string. Then Victor saw something that made him pause. He's looking for her, he said quietly. Mr. Obi nodded. For 6 months now. His hired investigators. Been searching every market, every street, every hospital. Why? The neighbor who saved her life told him the truth, how Bimbo locked her in that room, how she almost died giving birth, how the babies nearly didn't make it. Victor's hands tightened on the folder. He also found the original photos on Bimbo's phone. He knows now she faked everything. The woman never cheated. The twins are his. So now he wants them back, Victor said coldly. Yes. But it's not just guilt. His mother found out about the twins and has been pressuring him. She wants to meet her grandchildren. She threatened to cut him off completely if he doesn't make things right. Victor leaned back in his chair. And Bimbo, he asked. She left him 3 months ago. Took her boys and moved in with another man. He's alone now, broke, guilty, and desperate. Victor closed the folder. His thoughts raced. Should he tell her? Warn her that Ahmed Yusuf was looking for her? Or keep quiet and hope the man never found them? He knew the right thing to do. She deserved the truth. But he also knew what that truth would do to her. She was finally healing, smiling, and safe. If she knew he was searching, she'd live in fear again, always looking over her shoulder, always expecting him to appear. Victor made a decision. He would keep it to himself. For now. He would protect her and the twins. If the man came, he'd handle it. He looked at Mr. Obi. Keep watching him. If he gets close, I want to know immediately. Mr. Obi nodded and left. Victor sat alone, staring at the folder. He felt guilty. Hiding the truth from her felt wrong, but losing her trust felt worse. Later that afternoon, he went back to the hospital. When he entered the room, she was on the floor playing with the twins. Taiwo laughed. Kenny clapped her little hands. She looked up and smiled. Look, sir, she said. They're getting better. The doctor said we can leave in 4 more days. He smiled back, though guilt twisted in his stomach. That's wonderful. She stood. Sir, I've been thinking. When we leave the hospital, where will we go? I can't go back to the street, not with them doing this well. He had been thinking about it too. You're not going back to the street. I told you, I'll help you start a new life. Tears filled her eyes. But sir, you've done so much already. The hospital bills alone must be huge. I can't ask for more. You're not asking. I'm offering. And I don't want to hear any arguments. He sat down. I've been making plans. I'll set you up with a small shop, nothing too big, but enough to earn steady money. And I'll find you a place to live. A real home. A roof that doesn't leak and a door that locks. She covered her mouth. I don't even know what to say. Just promise me you'll let me help, that you'll give yourself and the twins a real chance. She nodded through tears. Yes. Yes, I will. Thank you. Thank you so much. Victor's guilt deepened. He was giving her hope, giving her a future, while hiding a secret that could shatter both. That night, he couldn't sleep. Thoughts of Ahmed Yusuf haunted him. What if he showed up and he found them? His phone rang. It was Mr. Obi. Sir, he just hired another investigator. A better one this time. He's serious. His heart sank. How long do we have? Hard to say. Could be weeks or months. But he'll find her eventually. Lagos isn't that big. Victor hung up and stared at the ceiling. He had to choose, tell her now and watch her fall apart, or stay quiet and protect her as long as he could. He chose silence. And it was a choice he would come to regret. 2 weeks later, she stood in front of a small apartment building, hardly believing what she was seeing. Victor had brought her here and said it was where she and the twins would live. "This is mine?" she whispered. "Yes. It's yours." He unlocked the door and let her inside. The apartment was small but perfect. A bedroom with a big bed, a living room with a couch and TV, a kitchen with a working stove and fridge, and a bathroom with hot water. She moved through each room slowly, touching everything like she was afraid it might disappear. Taiwo and Kenny were in her arms, their tiny eyes wide with wonder. "Sir, this is too much," she said, crying again, happy tears this time. "It's not too much," he told her. "It's what you and your children deserve." He showed her the bedroom. There was a crib in the corner, soft sheets on the bed, and clean pillows. In the kitchen, the cabinets were filled with food, everything she would need to cook proper meals. "I also hired someone to help you," he said. "Her name is Blessing. She's young, kind, and trustworthy. She'll help with the twins and the shop." She looked up, confused. "Shop?" He smiled again. "Come. Let me show you." They walked 3 streets over to a busy market area. Right on the corner stood a small shop with a bright sign above the door. It said Sarah's Provisions. She stopped walking. Just stared. Her name was on a shop sign, her name. It felt unreal. He unlocked the door and switched on the lights. Shelves lined the walls, stocked with drinks, snacks, and groceries. "This is your business," he said. "Blessing will help you run it. But you're the owner. You make the decisions." She couldn't speak. Just held her babies and cried softly. He placed a hand on her shoulder. "You're going to be okay now. You and Taiwo and Kenny, you're safe." The next few weeks felt like a dream. She woke up in her own bed. Cooked breakfast in her own kitchen. Took the twins to her own shop. Customers came. People smiled. Life began to feel normal again. Blessing was wonderful, 19, smart, patient. She taught her how to track money, restock goods, and talk to customers. The shop made enough. Not much, but enough to live, enough to feed the twins, enough to breathe. Victor visited often. Sometimes he brought toys, sometimes food, sometimes nothing but his company. She began to look forward to his visits. When she heard his car outside, her heart beat a little faster. When he smiled, she felt warm inside. Was she falling in love? She didn't know. She was afraid to even think it. Men had hurt her before. Why would this time be different? But he was different. He never asked for anything. Never made her feel small. He just helped, because he wanted to. One evening, he came by after she closed the shop. The twins were asleep. She made tea, and they sat together on the couch. "How does it feel," he asked, "having your own place, your own business?" She smiled. "Like I'm dreaming. Every morning I wake up afraid this isn't real." "It's real," he said. "And you earned it. You survived 2 years on the street with twin babies. That's strength." She looked down. "I still have nightmares, of Mr. Ahmed Yusuf, of being back on the street, of losing my children." His chest tightened. He should tell her the man was looking for her. But he couldn't. Not when she was finally happy. "You're safe here," he said. "I won't let anything happen to you or the twins." She looked at him quietly. "Why are you so good to me? What did I do to deserve this?" He hesitated. "You didn't have to do anything. Sometimes people just need help. And sometimes others are in a place to give it." But they both knew there was more. Something was growing between them, something neither of them wanted to name yet. She reached over and took his hand. "Thank you. For saving my life. For saving my children. For giving us a future." He squeezed her hand. "You're welcome." They sat like that for a long time, not speaking, just sharing the silence. But somewhere across Lagos, Mr. Ahmed Yusuf was staring at a map. His new investigator had given him a list of places to search: markets, shops, hospitals. He was getting closer. And Victor didn't know. 3 months passed. Life stayed good. The shop was busy. The twins were growing fast. Taiwo was walking now, wobbling on chubby legs. Kenny had started talking. Mama was her favorite word. Sarah had changed too. She laughed more, smiled more. The fear in her eyes had faded. She was becoming herself again. Victor came by one Saturday afternoon while she was counting the week's earnings. "Look at you," he said. "Running a business like you've done it forever." She laughed. "Blessing does most of the work. I just try not to ruin it." "Don't say that," he said. "You're doing great." He watched her for a moment. Her simple dress. Her tied-back hair. No makeup. Yet she looked beautiful. He realized then that he didn't just care about her, he loved her. But he couldn't tell her. Not yet. She needed time to heal and trust again. So he kept his feelings to himself. She caught him staring. "What?" she asked with a smile. "Nothing. Just thinking." "What's on your mind?" "You," he thought. "Your smile. The peace it brings." But aloud, he said, "Just business stuff." She nodded and went back to her counting. Then his phone buzzed. A message from Mr. Obi. "We need to talk. Soon." His stomach sank. He knew what that meant. Ahmed Yusuf was getting close. Maybe he had found them. Maybe everything was about to collapse. He looked at her, peaceful, humming softly, her children safe at last. He should tell her. Right now. Before it was too late. But he didn't. And that was his biggest mistake. It was a busy Tuesday afternoon. The shop was filled with people buying all kinds of things: food, drinks, and small treats for their children. Blessing was in the back, restocking shelves. The twins were playing on a mat behind the counter. Life was normal and good. Then an old Toyota Corolla stopped outside. She didn't notice at first, she was busy giving change to a customer. But Blessing saw the car. Saw the man who got out. "Auntie," Blessing whispered, her voice shaking. "Someone is coming." She looked up. And her heart stopped. Mr. Ahmed Yusuf. He was standing outside the shop, looking in through the window. His face looked tired. But it was him. The same man who threw her out. Who left her to give birth alone. Who called her babies bastards. For a moment, she couldn't move, breathe, and think. Then he walked into the shop. His eyes went straight to the mat behind the counter. To the twins. Taiwo was pushing a toy car across the floor, making soft car noises. Kenny was hugging her doll, humming a little tune. His eyes filled with tears. "My children," he whispered. That broke her stillness. She jumped over the counter, grabbed the twins, and held them tight against her chest. "Get out," she screamed. "Get out of my shop." He stepped forward. "Please. Let me explain." "Explain what?" she shouted. "How you threw us out like garbage and you watched me almost die giving birth. How you looked at your own babies and called them bastards." He looked around nervously. "Can we talk somewhere private?" "No. Say it here. In front of everyone. Let them see what kind of man you are." His face went red. He wasn't used to her fighting back. Once, she was quiet and gentle. But that woman was gone. This was someone who had survived hell, someone who refused to break again. "I made a mistake," he said, voice shaking. "Bimbo lied to me. She showed me fake photos. Said you were cheating. I believed her." "Yes, you did," she said bitterly. "You believed the woman who locked me in a room while I gave birth. You believed her over me. I'm sorry." He dropped to his knees. "I know I hurt you. But I want to make it right." "Make it right?" Her voice cracked. "How do you fix 2 years? 2 years I spent on the street with these babies. 2 years begging for food and hearing them cry because I had no milk." Tears streamed down her face. "Do you know what it's like," she said through sobs, "to hold your dying baby in the sun while people walk past like you don't exist? to give birth on the floor, alone, thinking you'll die and no one will find you. He was crying too now. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. Bimbo said you were faking. That you only wanted attention. And you believed her. While your babies were being born, you were out drinking. I was bleeding to death, and you didn't care. I care now. He stood up. I've been looking for you for months. My mother knows about the twins. She wants to meet them. She wants to help. Your mother? She said sharply. Where was your mother when I was homeless? When her grandchildren were starving? He looked down. No answer. I want to be part of their lives, he said quietly. They're my children too. I have rights. Rights? She said. You gave those up the day you threw us out. The law says different. I'm their father. DNA will prove it. A court will give me custody, or at least visitation. Her blood went cold. You wouldn't. I don't want to. But I will if you don't let me see them. Come back. Let's be a family. Never, she said. I will never go back to you. His expression changed, sadness turning to anger. Then I'll take them, he said. I have a job. A house. What do you have? A little shop? You think a court will pick you over me? Her heart pounded. Could he really take them? A voice came from the doorway. They're not going anywhere with you. Everyone turned. Victor stood there. Calm face. Cold eyes. Ahmed froze when he saw him. The fine suit, the watch, the quiet confidence. Who are you? He demanded. I'm the man who saved your children when you abandoned them, Victor said. Who has taken care of them for the past 6 months. He stepped forward, standing beside her. Close. Protective. Ahmed's eyes shifted between them. You and him? What I do and who I do it with is none of your business, she said. You lost that right 2 years ago. His hands curled into fists. Those are my children. Victor's voice was steady. Biology doesn't make you a father. Being there does. Providing does. Protecting does. You did none of that. I was lied to. Ahmed shouted. And you believed the lies, Victor said. You never checked. You never looked at your babies. You chose the easy thing instead of the right one. Ahmed glared. This isn't your business, rich man. Stay out of it. Victor didn't move. I'm making it my business. If you try to take these children, you'll lose. I have money, lawyers, power, and I'll use all of it to protect them. Ahmed laughed bitterly. You think money can fix everything? No, Victor said. But it can fix this. Leave now before I call security. Ahmed looked at her one last time. This isn't over, he said. They're mine by law. I'll be back. With the police if I have to. He turned and walked out. The shop stayed silent for a moment. Then everyone started talking, customers asking if she was okay, Blessing crying, the twins screaming in confusion. Her knees gave out. Victor caught her before she hit the floor. I've got you, he whispered. But she pulled away, trembling, from fear, from anger, from betrayal. You knew, she said quietly. His face went pale. Listen. You knew he was looking for me. How long? He didn't speak. He couldn't lie now. 6 months, he said finally. Her expression changed. The trust between them shattered. 6 months, she said. You knew for 6 months that he was looking for me, and you never told me? I was trying to protect you. Protect me? You lied. Just like him. Just like Bimbo. Just like my parents. It's not the same. Yes, it is. I trusted you. I thought you were different. But you're just like everyone else, deciding what's best for me, like I can't think for myself. That's not what I was doing. Get out, she screamed. Get out of my shop. Get out of my life. Her voice made the twins cry harder. That sound broke something in him. He looked at her, at the children, at everything they had built, and knew it was all slipping away. I'm sorry, he said quietly. Then he turned and walked out. She sank to the floor, clutching her crying babies, surrounded by stunned customers. And for the first time in months, she felt completely alone again. 2 months passed. Victor called every day. She never answered. He went to the shop. She refused to see him. He sent blessing with messages. She sent her back without reading them. Victor was miserable. His business was thriving, his bank account growing, but none of it mattered. He had lost the one thing that actually made him happy. He had lost her. But worse, Mr. Ahmed Yusuf had made good on his threat. He filed for custody of the twins. Sarah received the court papers at her shop. Her hands shook so badly as she read them that she dropped the papers to the floor. He was suing for full custody, claiming she was unfit, saying she had been homeless, couldn't provide a stable home, and that the children would be better off with him. She couldn't afford a good lawyer. The Free Legal Aid Office assigned her a young woman, kind but nervous. It was her first custody case. His lawyer was the opposite. Older, sharp, mean, and knew every trick in the book. The court date came. Sarah wore her best dress. Wanted to look like a good mother. A capable one. But when she stepped into that courtroom and saw him sitting there, all her courage started to crumble. The trial began. His lawyer rose first. His deep voice filled the room. Your Honor, my client, Mr. Ahmed Yusuf, is here today fighting for his children. Children he only recently discovered were living in terrible conditions, under the care of a mother unable to provide properly for them. Her lawyer jumped up. Objection. My client has provided excellent care. Objection overruled, the judge said. His lawyer smiled slightly. Mr. Ahmed Yusuf is a hard-working man with a steady job at MTN. He has a home. He has income. He has stability. What does the mother have? A small shop that barely makes a profit. A rented apartment. And a history of homelessness that endangered her children. He paused, then turned toward her. Your Honor, DNA testing confirms Mr. Ahmed Yusuf is the biological father. Under Nigerian law, he has every right to custody. And given the circumstances, he should have full custody. He sat down, looking pleased. She felt sick. Now it was her lawyer's turn. The young woman stood up, her hands trembling but her voice growing steadier. Your Honor, while it's true that Mr. Ahmed Yusuf is the biological father, he abandoned these children at birth. He threw their mother out of his home while she was in labor. He refused to acknowledge them. He left them to die. His lawyer jumped up again. My client was deceived. He was shown false evidence. Once he learned the truth, he began searching for them immediately. 2 years later. Sarah lawyer shot back. He waited 2 years. By then, she had already kept these children alive through nothing but courage and faith. The judge raised his hand. Enough. I've heard enough arguments. Let's hear from both parents directly. He turned to Mr. Ahmed Yusuf first. Ahmed stood up, adjusting himself, his voice calm and rehearsed. I made a mistake, he said. I believed lies. I thought the children weren't mine. But once I learned the truth, I started searching for them. I've been looking for months. Why do you want custody now? His lawyer asked. Because they are my children. They deserve a father. A stable home. My mother wants to help. We can give them a better life. He turned to the judge. I'm not a bad man, Your Honor. Just a man who made a mistake and wants to fix it. A few women in the gallery wiped their eyes. He was good, too good. He knew exactly what to say. Then it was her turn. Her legs were shaking so much she could barely walk to the stand. His lawyer faced her with a cold, confident stare. Is it true you were homeless for 2 years? Yes. Is it true you gave birth to twins on a floor with no medical help? Yes. Is it true you begged on the streets with these babies? Her eyes filled with tears. I was trying to survive. Just answer the question. Did you beg on the streets? Yes. Did you expose these infants to extreme heat, hunger, and unsafe conditions? I had no choice. So you admit it. You put these children in danger. She burst into tears. I was trying to keep them alive. I had no help. No one cared if we lived or died. He didn't flinch. My client cares now. He can give them what she cannot: safety, stability, a real home. He turned to the judge. Your Honor, she loves her children. But love isn't enough. They need more than that. And only my client can provide it. He sat down, satisfied. Her lawyer tried to fight back. She called Blessing to testify about how good Sarah was with the twins. She called the neighboring shop owner, who said she worked hard every day. But it wasn't enough. The courtroom could feel it. The tide was turning. The judge looked over his papers, then at both parents. This is a difficult case, he said. Mr. Ahmed Yusuf is the biological father and shows remorse. The mother has shown remarkable strength, but her living situation is concerning. Sarah felt the floor slipping away beneath her. However, the judge said, before I make my final ruling, I want to hear from one more person. The courtroom went silent. No one was listed as another witness. Then the doors opened. A woman in her 60s entered, dressed in traditional clothing, walking with a stick. Behind her was Victor. Sarah's heart jumped. What was he doing here? Who was this woman? The woman walked straight to the front. Your Honor, she said. My name is Mema Obi. I am a midwife in Lagos. And I have something to say about this case. The judge frowned at Ahmed's lawyer. Did you know about this witness? He shook his head, worried. I'll allow it, the judge said. Mema Obi turned to Ahmed. Her eyes were fierce. I know you, she said. 2 years ago, your neighbor called me. Said a woman was screaming inside your house. His face went pale. I broke down the door. Found this young woman lying in her own blood. Her baby's just born. She was dying. The courtroom was silent. I saw a woman who gave birth completely alone. No help. No water or medicine. She had lost so much blood. Another hour, and she and those babies would have died. She pointed at Ahmed. And where were you? Drinking. When I called your phone, you told me to mind my business. Said that woman was lying. Said the babies weren't yours. He tried to speak, but no words came. I have phone records from that night, Mema Obi said firmly. I kept my notes. I have proof. She turned to the judge. This man nearly killed this woman and her babies through neglect. He does not deserve them. The judge leaned forward. Do you have the records? Yes, Your Honor. She handed him a folder. He read through it slowly. His expression hardened. Then he looked at Ahmed. Do you deny any of this? Ahmed stammered. I was told she was faking. You believed a woman screaming in labor was faking, the judge said sharply. Ahmed had no answer. The judge sighed and set the papers down. Custody is granted to the mother. Full custody. Mr. Ahmed Yusuf will have no visitation rights until he proves he is no longer a danger to these children. Sarah gasped. She had won. Ahmed's lawyer tried to protest, but the judge raised his hand. This court is adjourned. She couldn't move, couldn't even breathe. Her babies were safe. Then she saw Victor, standing by the door, watching her with sad eyes. He had brought Mema Obi. He had saved her again. But could she forgive him? She stood outside the courtroom, holding the papers that said her babies were hers, legally, finally, forever. Mr. Ahmed Yusuf couldn't take them. No one could. She should have felt happy, even relieved. But all she felt was confusion. Victor stood a few feet away, speaking quietly to Mema Obi, thanking her for coming. She watched him, the man who had saved her life, saved her babies, given her a home and a business, broken her trust, and then saved her again. What was she supposed to feel? Mema Obi walked over and took her hands. My dear, the old woman said softly, that man came to my house 3 days ago. He begged me to testify. Said you needed help. Sarah looked toward Victor. He was walking away now, heading to his car. He loves you, Mema Obi said. An old woman can see these things. He made a mistake, yes, but his heart was in the right place. Tears filled Sarah's eyes. He lied to me. He protected you, Mama Obi replied. Sometimes we do the wrong thing for the right reasons. That doesn't make it right, but it doesn't make him a bad man either. She squeezed Sarah's hands. Don't let pride cost you love, my child. Good men are rare, and that one is good. Mama Obi kissed her forehead and walked away. Sarah stood there for a long time. The twins were with Blessing back at the shop. The courtroom was emptying. And she had a decision to make. She could go home, shut the door, raise her children alone. She'd be fine, she was strong enough now. Or she could forgive him. She took a deep breath and started walking, not toward the bus stop, not toward home, but toward Victor's car. He was about to get in when she called out, "Victor, wait." He turned. His eyes were red, like he'd been crying. She walked up to him. For a moment, neither of them spoke. "Why didn't you tell me he was looking for us?" she asked. He looked down. "Because you were finally happy. For the first time since I met you, you weren't scared. You were healing. And I didn't want to take that away from you. But it wasn't your choice to make." "I know," he said quietly. "And I'm sorry. I was wrong. I should have told you the truth and let you decide." She nodded. "Yes. You should have." He met her eyes. "I understand if you can't forgive me. If you don't want me in your life. But I need you to know something." He took a step closer. "When I saw you that day on the street holding Taiwo, something inside me broke. I'd spent 15 years building walls around my heart, chasing money, success, and shutting everyone out because everyone I loved either died or left. But then I saw you and those babies, and everything changed. For the first time in years, I cared about something that wasn't money or work." Tears filled his eyes. "I fell in love with you, with your strength, your love for your children, your courage to keep fighting when the world gave up on you." She caught her breath. "I didn't tell you about Ahmed because I was terrified of losing you," he said. "I know it was selfish, but I couldn't stand the thought of you being afraid again. Of you losing the peace you'd found." He wiped his face. "So yes, I lied. And I'll regret that forever. But everything else was real, the help, the care, the love. All of it. Because I love you." Tears streamed down her cheeks. "I know you need time," he said softly. "You may never trust me again. But I had to tell you the truth." He turned toward his car. "Goodbye. Take care of yourself. Kiss those babies for me." "Victor, wait." He stopped but didn't turn. "There's something you should know too." He turned slowly. She walked closer. "When I was sitting under that canopy watching my baby die, I prayed. I begged God to send help, someone who would see us, care for us, and not just walk away. And then you came. A stranger who had no reason to care about a poor woman and her babies, but you did. You saved Taiwo. You saved all of us." She took his hand. "You made a mistake. You should have told me the truth. But all my life people have made choices for me, my parents, Ahmed, everyone, all thinking they knew what was best. You did the same, but you owned it. You admitted it. You took responsibility." Her voice softened. "I've been so angry, so hurt. But when I saw you bring Mama Obi to court to help me again, I realized something. You've been saving me since the day we met, not because you wanted anything, but because it's who you are." Hope filled his eyes. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I forgive you. I'm saying good men are hard to find, and you're one of them." He hesitated. "Are you sure?" She smiled. "I'm saying I love you too." He stared at her, stunned. "You love me?" "Yes. I think I've loved you for months. I was just too scared to admit it." He pulled her into his arms and held her tight. "I'm not going anywhere," he whispered. "Never again." They stood there in the parking lot, holding each other as the world moved around them. Cars passing, people talking, life continuing. And for the first time in her life, she felt completely safe. The weeks after their reconciliation were gentle. Careful. Like two people learning to trust their own steps again. Victor didn't rush. He visited the shop briefly each day, bringing small gifts for the twins, asking how her day went, and leaving before things grew heavy. Slowly, the walls between them began to fall. One Saturday, he came to the shop with a different look in his eyes. "I want to take you somewhere," he said. She looked up. "Where?" "On a date. A real one." "What about the twins?" Blessing offered to watch them, he said with a small smile. She hesitated, then nodded. "Okay." That evening, she wore a simple dress. When Victor saw her, his face lit up like he was seeing her for the first time. He took her to a quiet restaurant overlooking the Lagos lagoon. Warm lights, soft music, calm air. They talked for hours, about their childhood dreams, their fears, the small things that made them laugh. For the first time, they weren't rescuer and rescued. They were just Victor and Sarah. When he drove her home, he walked her to the door. "Can I see you again?" he asked. She smiled. "Yes." Over the next 2 months, love grew between them, slow, patient, real. On Sundays, he took her and the twins to the beach. Taiwo rode on his shoulders. Kenny held his hand and sang her little songs. One afternoon, Taiwo looked up at him and said, "Daddy, can we get ice cream?" Victor froze. Sarah's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded. "Yes, little man," Victor said quietly. "We can." From that day, the twins called him Daddy, and he wore that name with more pride than any title or award he'd ever earned. 3 months later, Victor surprised her again. "I want to take you shopping," he said. "Shopping? Why?" "For you. For the twins. Just because." He took them to a big mall in Victoria Island. The twins raced through the aisles picking toys and clothes, their laughter echoing through the store. Then he guided her into a women's boutique. "Pick something," he said. "Victor, this is too much." "It's not," he replied softly. "You've spent years taking care of everyone else. Let someone take care of you." She chose a few dresses. When she stepped out in a soft blue one, Victor couldn't speak for a moment. "You look beautiful," he said at last. She blushed. "It's just a dress." "No. It's you." As they walked through the mall with the twins laughing ahead of them, she felt something she hadn't in years, normal. A woman in love. A mother at peace. A person who mattered. 4 months into their relationship, Victor knew he was ready. He had already decided long before, but now it was time. He spoke to her parents first, a gesture of respect. They were trying to make things right, and forgiveness was slowly rebuilding what had been broken. One evening, he took Sarah to a private beach resort. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. A table stood on the sand, lit by candles and surrounded by flowers. "Victor, what is all this?" she asked. "Sit with me," he said. They ate, laughed, and watched the waves roll in. Then he stood and held out his hand. "Walk with me." They walked along the water until Victor stopped and turned to face her. "Sarah, when I found you on that street 6 months ago, I thought I was saving you. But the truth is, you saved me." Tears filled her eyes. "I had everything, money, power, success, but none of it meant anything. You and your children gave my life meaning." He went down on one knee. She caught her breath. "I know we've been through so much, but I love you. I love Taiwo. I love Kenny. I love the family we've built. Will you marry me? Will you let me be your husband, their father, and spend my life proving you made the right choice?" Her voice broke as she whispered, "Yes. 1,000 times, yes." He slipped the ring on her finger and lifted her into his arms while she laughed through her tears. Their first kiss felt like home. The following weeks were filled with wedding plans, small, simple, full of meaning. Her parents helped as a way to make peace. Blessing helped with flowers and decorations. The twins couldn't stop talking about it. Kenny wanted a princess dress. Taiwo was only excited about the cake. A week before the wedding, Victor showed her the house they would share. A room for the twins, decorated in their favorite colors. A cozy bedroom for the two of them. "You did all this?" she asked softly. "I wanted you to feel at home," he said. She smiled. "I already do. Because home isn't a place. It's you." The wedding was on the beach at sunset. The air smelled of salt and flowers. She wore a simple white dress. Victor wore a suit. The twins walked down the aisle as ring bearers, tripping and giggling the whole way. Her father walked her to the front. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I know," she said. "I forgive you." When Victor took her hand, the pastor spoke about love, forgiveness, and second chances. "Victor, do you take Sarah to be your wife?" "I do." "And Sarah, do you take Victor to be your husband?" "I do." "You may kiss your bride." He kissed her, and the twins clapped wildly. That night, under the stars, they danced. "Mrs. Adeyemi," he whispered in her ear. She smiled. "I like the sound of that." 5 years later, their family had grown. They now owned 7 shops across Lagos. Sarah ran a foundation for single mothers, helping women rebuild their lives. They had another baby, a boy named David. Taiwo and Kenny were thriving, happy and confident. Her relationship with her parents was steady now, healed with time. Even Ahmed Yusuf had changed. Every year, he sent the twins a birthday card. Nothing more. Just peace. One evening, Sarah and Victor sat on their balcony watching the sunset. "Do you remember that day?" she asked softly. "When you found me under that canopy?" "Every moment," he said. "Do you ever regret stopping?" He turned to her. "Not once. That deal I walked away from would have made me richer. But you made me whole." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For seeing me. For stopping when everyone else kept walking." He smiled. "And thank you for teaching me what really matters." They sat together in quiet peace, watching their children play in the yard below. The waves crashed gently in the distance, and the last light of the sun brushed their faces. Everything was exactly as it should be. What did you learn from this story? Share your thoughts in the comments below. A brand new story is coming in just a few days. It's deep, emotional, and full of lessons. So please subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss it. If this story touched you, don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends and family. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate you. See you in the next one.